recorded live at 4ZZZ Studios, Meanjin, Brisbane.
On 102.1 FM.
And broadcast across Australia on the Community Radio Network.
You're listening to Zed Games.
Zed Games brings you the best in gaming news, reviews, community and culture. Want to reach out?
Share your hot take?
Or do you just want to share your favourite game?
Find us on socials at Zed Games AU.
You're listening to Zed Games here on 4ZZZ. My name is Hazel and I'm here in the studio with...
Peter.
And... Rani, long time no see. How are you?
I crawled out of the walls. I'm back.
You're back.
I'm in pieces, but I'm here.
Before we go any further, we are here to talk about video games.
There we are.
And sometimes even non-video games, the kind that you play on a table or stuff. Probably not the ones you play outside, though.
Probably not.
Maybe LARP?
LARP? Maybe?
We could talk about LARP,
It's
maybe.
gaming.
I don't know anything about LARP, but I've got some friends who do.
I know some things about LARP. I regret that I know anything about LARP.
Oh, well. How are the two of you?
I am doing pretty damn well. As busy as I am at the moment with many, many different things, I still find some time to game, which is a hell of a lot of fun. But I have a bone to pick with the gaming community, toxic players, if we have a chance to.
You have a bone to pick?
Mm-hmm. I have many, many bones to pick. How many's in the human body? How many can I take out of people online?
It's like
How many can you take out of people online? Probably zero.
No.
Yeah, virtually I don't think it works that way.
But if you find them in real life, you can probably take all of them out.
Just make sure
it's just a question for the gaming community that I just do not understand.
Hit us with it. Before I tell them how I am, hit us with the question.
So I play Rocket League occasionally. Yes. I jumped into a competitive match, and in the first 5 seconds, my own teammate is dissing me. We hadn't even started the match yet.
This sounds like league level. All right.
I just do not understand the whole point of degrading your own teammate, especially in a competitive match, where the whole idea is supposed to be doing better. I will will understand that brain or lack of brain capacity.
It is definitely a lack of brain capacity. Sorry. I feel like I'm getting flashbacks. But it's like, look, psychologically, right? It's just this inability to accept your own fault, right? They're putting all the responsibility.
They want it, but they weren't even doing anything about the game as yet.
Oh.
We were just waiting for the time. My own teammate was dissing me and talking about my mother and so on and so forth and whatnot.
Not feel very
I'm
good
going to
about
say
themselves.
that is probably just a person who likes to go online and pick fights for no reason, and they just chose to do it in a video game that day.
But the thing is, it's not a unique occurrence.
Yeah.
And I just
There's
do
a lot
not
of those
understand
people who
that.
just love getting online and picking fights.
Do you find that it's happening in the same types of games?
No. I enjoy multiplayer, and I'm a generally pretty positive person. I like to go in and try and, encourage others to do better and, give them tips and whatnot if I can.
Be better.
But
Be better.
I just do not grasp the concept of trying to put someone down, especially if they're on your own team, in a competitive nature.
It is very weird.
Yeah, I don't get it either. I mean, I usually have comms off, but that's just because I
I
sound
just
like a girl.
Immediately. The funny thing was, this one did sound like a girl, and it sounded like her boyfriend was egging her on in the background to keep talking about it. I'm just
fascinating.
Interesting.
Just
Could have been
confused.
a 12-year-old boy, though. I do like to play that game with people. They ask me if I'm a 12-year-old boy, and I'm like, yeah, I am. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm a 12-year-old boy. I'm working on my PhD at the moment.
Yeah. Speaking of, my PhD is going well. I'm
going
here.
good,
I'm back.
You're back.
So
I'm so glad to see you.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
You're a good friend.
I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, it's good to have you.
But yeah, no, things are hectic as always, but I'm here and I'll be here a little bit more now.
Yay.
I'm finding time for games again. Yay!
I have not been finding a lot of time for games, unfortunately. But now we are going to throw it to our foreign correspondent, Mr. News himself, Tobi.
This week in gaming news. Nintendo Direct, game industry news, and a summary of the week's gaming headlines. Nintendo Direct. I'm only going to run down on the major headlines of the 40-minute June 18 Nintendo Direct because if you're into it, you've either watched it or you've watched your favourite YouTuber's summary. If you're not, you probably don't want a mega rundown. So, here they are. Mario lovers are getting Mario and Luigi Brothership coming November 7 this year. It looks to be a dual-control platformer, as well as Super Mario Party Jamboree, a massive party game with the ability to host up to 20 players. Play it October 17. Donkey Kong Country Returns HD is coming January 16, 2025, with 80 levels, plus some of the original 3DS hits. Zelda fans were hit with a Nintendo Switch Online edition of Zelda: A Link to the Past 4 Swords, basically multiplayer Link. Then the new title, The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom, was announced to much fanfare, where you can play as Zelda and create echoes in your adventure to save Link, coming September 26 this year. And finally, in Metroid news, also coming to Nintendo Switch Online, Metroid Zero Mission is coming to the collection. And the long anticipated, after the announcement of it back at E3 2017, Metroid Prime 4 will be gracing our consoles sometime in 2025. There was a heap more with the announcement and release dates of Just Dance 2025, Dragon Quest III, and some Marvel vs. Capcom collections. Just lots of stuff. If you want to learn more, follow the links on our Facebook at ZED Games AU. And now for some game industry news. This week saw the closure of Game Industry's 2023 and 2022 Best Places to Work in Canada studio Timber Games by owner Sumo Group before the release of its first game. This is included in the 15% downsizing Sumo Group, a subsidiary of Chinese giant Tencent, had announced on June, around 250 people. Paradox Interactive is closing down their Tectonic studio, makers of the upcoming life sim Life by You, after Deputy CEO reportedly called the early access title lacking in some key areas, and the road leading to release far too long and uncertain. 24 people. After sales lagged on Wizard with a Gun, developer Galvanic Games has closed their doors. 12 people. Embracer Group also blamed lackluster sales for this week's closing of Pieces Interactive, developer of Alone in the Dark, released in March. 42 people. VR Chat also announced a 30% reduction in staff, around 30 people, blaming plateauing sales and lack of management. And after the announcement in May of Microsoft's closure of Tango Gameworks, the studio has finally closed its doors this week. In the wake of all the layoffs, the big-name companies, CEOs and shareholders in the industry continue to profit, with EA CEO's compensation increased by 22% to over $25 million US. And this is after cutting 5% of its workforce in February, around 670 people, for restructuring. At least Gearbox has been somewhat released from Embracer Group's failing model, with its deal with Take-Two Interactive closing this week. The deal moves most of its IP and studios under Take-Two's wings, including hits such as Borderlands, Risk of Rain, Homeworld and Duke Nukem, but leaving behind the studios and IP of Lost Boy Interactive and Cryptic Studios. But not all is lost, with staff from layoffs forming advisory companies, such as those from indie studio Modern Wolf forming Secret Source, or creating support studios like Code Dev The Unreal Guys, who work as a specialist team to help studios work with the Unreal Engine. But the industry is struggling. In an interview with GameIndustry.biz, Tencent advisor and former PlayStation boss Sean Layden is cautioning the industry to take a more patient approach to game development. It's human nature, right? If you're at the craps table and someone's got a hot hand and they're running the table, you just want to jump on that train and get a piece of that before it goes. That's why patience is a thing that's important. The industry is losing patience. We need to find a way to solve this problem in 6 months, in an industry where nothing gets done in 6 months. And now for this week in gaming headlines. In Bethesda news, Todd Howard says he's not going to rush the next Fallout game, even with all the hype surrounding it at the moment, and Starfield has been review bombed due to a Quest paywall in its latest update. Discord voice chat is rolling out to PS5 this week. Valve drops max support for Half-Life 2, Portal 2, Team Fortress 2, basically all the twos. Jackbox Games to launch Jackbox Mega Picker, a Jackbox library where players can access all the games in any title they currently own. More than 600 players of Star Citizen have had their accounts suspended for currency exploits and cheats. The Apple monopoly is crumbling on iOS, with Japan passing a law to allow third-party app stores on iPhone, with Epic already announcing Epic Game Store to Japan on iOS in 2025. And we could see this spread with 4 more US states joining the antitrust monopoly battle in the United States. And in Baldur's Gate 3 news, fan-fave romanceable NPC Shadowheart had to be heavily toned down for release and was originally too sassy/mean. And developer Larian CEO says mod support is coming in a final handover moment patch. And don't forget to read more, follow the links on our Facebook page at Zed Games AU. And now for this week in gaming releases. There's Fallout in your Call of Duty with a bundle dropping today. And the VR title Blade and Sorcery has finally left early access. Now on Friday, June 21, visual novel sci-fi detective game Times in Galaxy comes to PC and consoles, and after 25 million copies sold since release, the expansion Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree comes to PC, Xbox and PlayStation. And don't forget to be a good tarnished if you grab this, and be mindful of spoilers for those who don't want to tread into the realm of shadows with nothing but their determination and their minds unclouded. Saturday, June 22 brings us the retro helicopter top-down shooter Megacopter Blades of the Goddess coming to PC. On Monday, June 22, Detective Sim Uncover the Smoking Gun comes to PC. Tuesday, June 25 brings us Cozy Grove Camp Spirit coming to Netflix Mobile. Be the Ball in Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble coming to Switch. For VR gamers, Riven PC MQ Remake is coming to MetaQuest. The DLC, A Little to the Left Seeing Stars, is coming to all platforms, and Bouncy Farm Sim on Wednesday, June 26, 2D visual novel and narrative adventure Until Then comes to PC and PS5, and PS1 era-styled cartoon precision platformer Frogun Encore is coming to PC and consoles. And finally, on Thursday, June 27, the remaster Luigi's Mansion 2 HD is coming to Switch. Battle Royale MOBA Battle Crush is coming to PC, Switch and mobile, and lastly, the remake of Atari's Sprint, Neo Sprint, is coming to PC and consoles. And that's all this week in gaming news.
Thank you for the gaming news, Tobi.
Yes.
Who's excited about Mario?
Wahoo!
Yeah? Are you excited about Mario?
Yeah, somewhat. It's never been my major thing, but, I enjoy it.
I think he's a great little guy.
I mean, I think that the Mario mushroom tattoo on my ankle tells you all I need to know.
Wahoo!
Yeah.
Wahoo!
All right. Moving along, you're listening to Zed Games,
Yep.
and coming up now, we have got a game review from our friend Paul of a fun little game called Leap Year.
It's been quite the year for what I'm going to call work it out yourself games. Heavy hitters like Animal Well and Lorelei and the Laser Eyes have made a big splash with their mysterious mechanics and subtle guidance which encourages player discovery. They are quite meaty experiences, however, so for those who may want to experience the revelations of a genius on a smaller scale, may I present Leap Year. Leap Year is a platformer by Aussie developer Daniel Linssen and commissioned by Sockpop Collective. Sockpop are a group of developers from the Netherlands who task themselves with releasing a game a month, supported by their Patreons. Having released over 100 games themselves, they have started commissioning games from their favourite developers. Their third Sockpop takeover, as they call them, is Leap Year. Like many great work-it-out-yourself games, Leap Year cannot be properly discussed in a review, as most of the content is best appreciated by self-discovery. To start, however, the very first thing you will do in the game is jump. In fact, it's your only interaction. You will jump, and you will die, because you jump 2 spaces high, but your character can only survive a fall of 1 space. This first revelation is simple, and you will not realise its full relevance until much later in the game. By the time the final puzzle was revealed, my inner monologue was screaming, "No fucking way!" Yes, Leap Year is a masterclass in game design, expertly layering mechanics that will naturally lead you to the next revelation, all in a package which will only take around 3 hours. At its most basic, you are collecting the days of the month, February in a leap year, so 29 for those that don't know the rhyme. The game starts with 29 right above you, but out of reach. The journey to get to that 29th day is full of twists and turns, all guided by the player's understanding. By the end I was terrified I would make a mistake and that would set me back, but it never came. It's an experience so expertly crafted you can enjoy it without stress of getting stuck in a position which would either block you or require you to replay significant sections. In fact, having completed the game, I feel I could run the whole experience in 10 minutes or less now, as I understand how the mechanics work, but working out these mechanics did take a few hours. As you get near the end of the game, the difficulty of execution ramps up, but I generally found that by the time I'd worked out what I was supposed to be doing, the platforming of an area had become second nature. The game has a clean, hand-drawn, almost crayon style to its artwork, filled with little details which you will come to understand. At one point, there's a hint at a story, but I'm pretty sure it's just a joke. I did laugh, so either well done or I'm sorry? Mechanically, the game is simply solid. It feels nice to move around, and any difficulty typically comes from your knowledge and not twitchy platforming. You can get Leap Year on Steam or itch.io for around $7. Also, if you're interested in the Sock Pop Collective, you can check out their catalogue on Steam, itch.io, and their Patreon. One more leap into action! Whoop!
Thank you, Paul. I think I'm actually gonna get that and check it out. It sounds great. But coming up now, we have got
You're listening to Zed Games at 4ZZZ.
You're listening to Zed Games on 4ZZZ.
Oi mate, you're listening to Zed Games at 4ZZZ.
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 Got a bit carried away.
You're listening to Zed Games here on 4ZZZ. My name is Hazel, and I'm in the studio with
Peter.
and
Rani.
now it's time for Rani to review a video game.
Buckle up, kids. I'm a little rusty.
What is this game that you're going to be reviewing,
Indeed.
Rani?
It's called Cat and Ghostly Road.
Cat and Ghostly
So
Road.
I hope
It's
you're
a
ready to walk.
weird name.
It is a weird name. I'm not giving it points for name, because I didn't really, It's
What kind of
fine,
game is
it's
it?
whatever. It's a point and click game,
Yeah?
and
A
I got it
point-and-click
on
adventure,
the
yeah.
Switch, so I think you know where this is going.
Yeah.
You can't look. You can get
You
it on
can
the
point
PC.
and click on
on
the
the
Switch.
Switch. It's just not. Well, no, because I like to play it on the TV because I can't look at tiny screens like that. And I frequently forget that the Switch does in fact have a touchscreen. But the problem that I had with that touchscreen on the Switch shenanigans is that you have to hover over things with your cursor to see whether or not they're clickable. And you can't really hover on the touchscreen of the Switch, so you do still have to use the joysticks. But the premise of this game, and look, if you know anything about me, which I'm sure some of these listeners do, you know that I like cats.
Yes.
And I also like really pretty things.
Yeah.
And Cat and Ghostly Road, you get to play as this white cat. And it's got a really, really pretty art style. So obviously I was drawn in. I was hooked. We got a game review for this, so I didn't spend any money on it.
It does look gorgeous.
It is. It's so pretty, right? And it's just a shame that the controls are a little bit janky. And I used to play a lot of point-and-click games as a kid because I like a good puzzle. But this game, it lacks any sort of hint system. So I was just kind of clicking on things, hoping that I would get find the thing that I needed or be able to progress. One of the things that you have to do is plant a cherry blossom tree, and it was first you have to get the hoe, and then you have to hoe the ground, and then you have to go get the bucket and fill the bucket up with water, and then you have to plant the thing, and then you have to it was needlessly complicated on the Switch specifically. I think probably if I pulled it up on my PC, I would find it a little bit more relaxing. But I do also think that the times where it just isn't really guiding you and it's not giving you hints to figure it out, I just, quite frankly, given how busy I am, didn't have the time or the patience or the like brain power to sit there and figure it out. So I think if you want to do that sort of stuff, you absolutely can, and it's lovely. But the idea is the cat is trying to protect its owner, who sort of brought it in after it like nearly died in the snow, essentially, right?
Aww.
Yeah, it's really sad. It's a really sad start. And so basically, Cat and Ghostly Road, the cat can see the ghosts, and it's trying to like figure out what has possessed its owner and how to help it, like how to help them.
Cats can see ghosts.
Cats can see ghosts.
Native ability.
We all have cats.
Yeah.
We all know that they can in fact see ghosts.
Yeah.
My cat, I don't know if he can see ghosts or if he is dumb.
He's too young. He hasn't developed it yet.
I think he's dumb. But, look, I will say, like, I was 100% drawn in. One thing that was not great is, like, when I Googled Cat and Ghostly Road to bring up, like, the info about it, so that I had it here, the first prompt it gives you is walkthrough, which is not uncommon for point-and-click games, but it wasn't that spectacular. Can I remember the soundtrack? No. I don't think I was particularly impressed with the game, but it gets really good reviews on Steam. So I think if you're really into point and clicks, it's like you're gonna like it. Or if you just really want to look at pretty art, yeah, this is the game for you.
It's a gorgeous game. If you enjoy point and clicks, it might be in your wheelhouse, but probably don't get it on Switch.
Definitely don't get it on Switch.
Yeah,
I would 100% recommend it on like a mouse and keyboard, because it is a point and click.
It is a point and click. It's in the title.
However, if you don't want to play it, but you do like the art style, Steam will give you the wallpapers for free.
Yes.
So you can just like look at it if you want.
If you just think the art's really pretty, you can download the wallpapers and use those.
Which, quite frankly, I vibe with.
Yeah. I like that a lot. You know how, like, for 5 years or so, everybody had a screenshot from Firewatch as their wallpaper? Yeah.
Exactly. And that you could do that with Cat and Ghostly Road.
Exactly.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't have much more of a review for you. It was one of those games where, you know how you can usually tell early on in the game whether or not you actually want to keep playing it?
Yeah.
It was one of those games where I picked it up and I was playing it and I just went, I don't want to do this. Like, I don't want to keep playing this. What I really wanted was I really, really wanted it to be like a flat left to right sort of game where I was moving. Yeah, kind of like a platformer, but
you wanted it to control, like, side-scrolling.
Yeah, I wanted side-scrolling. I wanted to be able to actually move the cat, not point and click. And then
but it's a point and click.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I'm checking out their follow-up game, Cat's Request, which was released last year, and it looks more like it's a left-to-right sort of adventure, detective story-esque sort of thing. So.
You know what? Maybe I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, I'm never going to have fun if I pick a point and click on the Switch, so maybe that's my fault. Look, we're going to go back to the days of Rani only reviews survival games, and Rani is really bad at survival games.
Well, I think that's enough of a review.
Yeah.
Thank you. More of pole wrapping.
More of pole wrapping. I wish we had pole wrapping here. I wish I just had like a little box that made pole wrapping over random music.
Oh yeah, like if we had like a little.
I'm sure there's an AI for that somewhere.
Yeah, I was gonna say we had a little AI pole.
We'll train an AI on pole that can't unleash any horrors into the universe.
Let's narrow that down to Paul's wrapping that we're training it on.
I think the technology exists. I think we can make this happen.
We have the technology. Yeah. Do we have the drive?
No.
No.
Although we do have a soundboard, so maybe we can just get
and
bites.
Speaking of sounds.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It was foretold in the ancient scriptures, predicted by those who counted silver coin by moonlight, honored in the revered celestial calendar of the old gods. Finally, the end of financial year is upon us. Make your offering now. Summon the site named support.4zzz.org.au and sacrifice coins greater than 2 for your tax-deductible donation to 4ZZZ this end of financial year.
You're listening to Zed Games here on 4ZZZ. My
Zed
name's
Games.
Hazel. I'm here in the studio with
Peter
and
Rani.
And we have something to talk about very quickly because
That we do.
it's coming
So
up to
very
the end
briefly.
of our show. But there is an event.
There is.
There is an event for everybody in Brisbane.
Stop pointing at me.
I'll point at you
Don't
as
you
much
dare
as I
point at
like.
me.
There is an event in
This
Brisbane.
Saturday
Yes.
That's in 2 days.
at the Brisbane Powerhouse, there is a free event called Queensland Games Festival.
Yay!
You can come along and play a bunch of free demos of games that aren't even out yet
By
from
the way,
local developers.
Unpacking was at this festival. All
Yeah,
the way
if you
I
know
came to
Unpacking by Witchbeam Games, absolutely viral hit,
So-
incredible game. That was at this event, like for years running,
until it released.
in so many stages of early access demos that they brought. So maybe you are going to come along and you're going to play a demo
That's going to be the
that
next
is going to
hit
be
game.
the next massive hit game out of Brisbane, and
And you can say
and
that
you
you
can
played
say
it first.
you can say that you
You
played
can
it, but you
have that
played it before.
clout.
It was
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Or you can come along and just play a whole bunch of games and catch up with local developers
You
and
can also put-
socialize and all that kind of sort of stuff too.
Faces to
Yep.
our voices.
Yes.
Yeah, because
And
we
You just
have to look
are
up.
going to be there
Yeah.
all
Look up
day,
for me.
10
Oh, yeah.
a.m. to 4:30 p.m.
Yep.
Peter's really tall.
on the
Yes.
main stage
Yes.
in the Brisbane Powerhouse. We are going to be doing hot seat interviews with all of the developers who've come to exhibit their games, and we're gonna grill them. We're gonna ask them hard-hitting journalistic questions like, "Is making games hard?"
Yes.
What was the hardest part? What's your
Yeah.
favorite ice cream flavor?
And you can see how tall Peter is.
Yes.
And you can see how short
He's like
I am.
he's like a mild. Yeah, we got the extremes in here.
Yeah.
That we do. I will tower over everybody.
You
but
will
I will
not
give
miss
everybody
me, though.
high fives.
Because
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
high vis.
You are high vis.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm high
bright
vis.
orange hair.
Yep.
Yeah,
Well-
come along to the Queensland Games Festival this Saturday at the Brisbane Powerhouse.
We are so excited to see you there. Now,
Yes.
it's time for us to say goodbye. It's the end of our show.
Unfortunately.
Goodbye. Good night. We love you so much, and we will see you on Saturday.
Good
If you've got
night.
a brain on you.
Don't be a troll. Good night. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Zed Games. If you'd like to listen to more, you can find us on the Community Radio Plus app.
Or find us on socials at ZED Games AU.
See you next time.